Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Dodger here. Welcome back to Automation, the car company tycoon game. We're continuing on in the Lite campaign today with our Vanity company, and we left off in the year 2003, where we had just finished designing the Sharky Mark II, replacing the Sharky, which is already canceled. It did pretty well for us, made 4.7 billion. Not the most amazing car we've made ever, but it did pretty well. And that's all we can ask for. Our company has 28 billion in the bank. We have a Zoids out here that's just kind of hanging on. In fact, I'm actually going to cancel it as of right now and just continue to sell the 23,000 we have in stock for the remaining couple of years, and then somewhere down the line maybe replace that. The economy is doing tough things in that regard, and actually I'm a little worried about the Sharky Mark II. That might be in a little bit of a struggle itself. The economy, it's not the worst. The first time I did a Lite campaign, it was the worst. Like, we hovered under 0.25 for all of the categories for a long time. It was tough. This hasn't been that bad, but it's been a very prolonged period of just a economy. And it's not a very good economy to sell premium and luxury vehicles in. That's what we want to do, because they're fun to build. But you get what you get. And hopefully by the end of our campaign, we'll get another boom, and we'll get to do the crazy stuff. In case that does happen, we're going to go ahead and bump up some R&D stuff. But look at the budget. The budget has been in a constant climb that whole time, and the poor little Magnet Mark II, the magnet that could, from 1981, still selling in the year 2003. Just look at this thing. Would you just look at it? Look at it. It's so outdated. Its technology is outdated. It's probably not even loved in markets. 74, 75, not loved in markets, and yet it's still making us sickening amounts of money. Like, well, exactly $10 billion amounts of money. So it's got to be time. It's got to be time to make a Magnet Mark III. Even if the budget goes down a little bit, it's still the biggest category right now. So as of 2003, let's start to design ourselves a new magnet, but let's also be looking forward to maybe 2005, 2006, being able to make ourselves a new Zoids. In R&D, there's actually not a lot amazing coming up in the next tech. Magnesium bottom ends in 2005, VBT in 04. These things are cool, but I don't think they're cool enough for us to push towards. So what I'm going to do is actually just throw a little bit of funding at top and bottom end to help us with the future Zoids, as well as in the chassis department. I'm wondering how important the chassis department is, and it seems like it's something we always neglect. So if we had a quality to use in the chassis department, would that then give us the ability to make our next Zoids, possibly the last one, like the ultimate supercar? I don't know. I think it's worth trying to find out, though. So that's what we're going to do there. And I'm going to back down off of interior one click, since we already are up to that 3 point, and we'll just try to hang there. Pushing safety up to 4, though, that seems like a worthwhile endeavor. Alright, enough said. Let's get to making ourselves a new car. So the Magnet, of course, is in that, I always want to say K-car category, but that doesn't really exist in the realm of this video game. Like, well, obviously it doesn't exist in US markets, and that's kind of what we're based in here. But it's that kind of car. The smallest hatchback you could make, basically. And in the last 10 years in hatchbacks, let's see, that's an 83.1. That's an 84.6. That's a 72.4. Oh, but that's a 1995 body. That's probably a little too old. What's that 83 one? Oh, that's a brand new body. Yeah, I guess that seems like the right option then. Is it ugly? Yeah, but I'll try my best. A little bit bigger door would help its proportions. Um, I don't really know. Ooh, no, let's not do that. I don't really know what to do with the nose to help it. Yeah, I'll try. I'll try what I can with it. But odds are it's not going to be the most attractive vehicle we've ever made. That's just the sad truth of it. But that we will just have to see. Monocoque, though, on the chassis. Galv steel is cheaper. Let's do that. Yes. Not rear-engined. It's not a smart car. But we'll do a front transverse. McPherson, semi-trailing arm, or torsion. The compactness of the torsion is extremely high. However, the comfort is a little better for semi-trailing arm and average on the compactness. So let's go for that. I think that'll be fine. And Dutch Day corrosive resistant steel body. All right, so all of these little shoebox cars, like I drove. A roommate of mine had a Mazda 2, so I'm familiar with that, and this is actually a little bit smaller than that, but in that category. And all of these cars, when you look at their design language, what you get is cute or fake sporty. There's no in between. You either get like the Ford Fiesta or Focus RS, you know, super over the top aggressive looking, or you get the way overly cute and smiley and happy Mazda 2. So I want to try and aim somewhere in the middle. Maybe just aggressive looking, but not necessarily sporty looking. Okay, I think those are the headlights. They're aggressive looking, not necessarily sporty looking. Do I use this inset here for a grill, or do we put the grill on the bottom? It's such a big nose, it's got to be on the bottom. Like, otherwise it's just going to look like a huge expansing? Oh god, no. Oh, please, no. No, get that, no. That was gross. You know what I'm saying. I hope, maybe, somewhere deep down inside. It's maybe a little sportier looking than I was looking for. And I'm a little curious if I can push that nose in a bit. Yeah, that's a little less intrusive. Yeah, that's somewhere in the neighborhood of what I was thinking. It's aggressive looking, but not like there's not a ton of openings, there's not a bunch of vents and fake little spots for brake ducts and things like that. So it's aggressive without sporty, and that's what I was hunting for. For the back, I mean, it's got so much bumper back here. I don't know what I'm gonna do with the back. No. Alright, got a little fancy with the taillight usage. I don't know if it's good or if I'm doing the has science gone too far kind of stuff, because this part of the body is not even supposed to have taillights on it, from what I can tell, because it kept trying to warp them very strangely. But it's the best I've been able to do, to be honest. Alright, I'm not going to go ahead and say that's like the most inspiring, awesome design for the back end, but it's not offensive, it's not bad. I went ahead and threw these bottom taillights in there because I was a little worried that it looked as though there would be no visible brake lights from the back, or at least not enough. But of course, we're assuming there's a third brake light in the window, and this is one of those assumed vehicles that the exhaust is under the vehicle. Very awesome that in the Unreal build you can have under vehicle exhaust. That's going to be much better for these kinds of solutions. But yeah, I'm real happy with the nose. It's been growing on me every time I've looked at it, and I went ahead and did like the bubble in the nose to give it that look of, we made this as compact as we possibly could, so compact that we had to put a bubble in the nose just to fit an engine in there. Like, there's zero excess on this thing. You know, it's not too bad in red, so I think we'll keep it red, and it being the Magnet Mark III, that is the Eco version here. And yeah, it's really not bad in red. I could probably work in yellow. But the darker colors, I don't think so as much. The black isn't bad, but I think the red suits it the best. It really does. And we're going to go for a transverse front-wheel drive. As cool as this would be in a transverse all-wheel drive, I don't know that the game has a category that it would like this car in. So we'll go with transverse front-wheel drive. The question is, what in the world can we put in this thing for an engine? It's got a very tiny engine bay. Would a 4-cylinder even fit at all? Well, not that size. So it's definitely going to be a dual red cam. And not at this point. How small do we have to go? Really small. Really small. 1.1 liters. That's pretty tiny. That is pretty tiny. But inline 3, you would think we could get more, but in reality, about the same. So where's the advantage in the inline 3? I guess in material cost, maybe? Engine size? Let's see, that's like 90 pounds versus the 4. That fits, anyway. Oh, wow, we got a 1.2 in there somehow. Is 102 pounds. Or, sorry, 45 pounds. No, wait, what? Wait, what? I've... 97, there we go. So it's virtually the same, I think. So, I think the 4-cylinder is the way to go. We have VVL available, but VVL, not going to be able to use it. Like, a big, aggressive high cam isn't going to do us anything in the eco category. Obviously, as cheap as we can go here. The hyper-eutectic cast pistons give us a nice emissions break, so we'll use those just for the added smugness of saying that it's a low emissions vehicle. Oh yeah, the whole environment's thing too. Let's see, 35 cam profile. Probably gonna have to take compression out of it. We'll go with 9. VVT on the intake. We can afford it. We can do it. NA. Injection. If the engineering time wasn't extremely high on direct injection right now, I would probably go for it, but it's extremely high. It's actually still very high on multi-point, which I find surprising. By 2003, multi-point EFI is pretty much the standard and pretty much has been engineered to death. So I would think that would be just normal by this point. And standard all this, regular fuels, very lean mix. Probably 6,500 max there. Short cast. Certainly no more than 116 horsepower, probably. Then we'll do 2 straight-through mufflers. Oh, that hurts. That hurts the kidneys. 67 horsepower. Let's hear this thing roar. Roar into life. Somewhere. Do you hear it roaring? Well, I see one mistake I've made. So there might be a little bit left in this guy. It's quite the roar. And that is that I only chose 2 valves per cylinder. So we'll do 4 valves per cylinder. That brought us up to 72 horsepower. But don't worry. Don't worry. How much economy are we at? 1983. That's not quite good enough. That is not quite good enough at all. So less exhaust. And it actually could have more RPM. We're having a little bit of RPM limiting issues. That's surprising. What's the reliability at? 59. Very interesting. How lean can we make this thing? Because we want very, very massively lean. For, yeah, that 23% economy. Those are the numbers we're looking for here. 23.7. Okay. That's for 71 horsepower, but that's the flattest 71 horsepower ever. Like that's available for like 1,000 RPM on a very flat torque curve. Is that enough power? I honestly don't know at this point. I honestly don't. Oh, that's the most compression we could possibly give it. At the expenditure of just a tiny little bit of economy, we were able to get some more power out of it, so that's nice. We definitely get more RPM out of it. The reliability tanks pretty quickly, though. In fact, it would be 68, 69, 70 It'd be a lot better if it would hit peak power much sooner, which is interesting. I mean, 69.9, that's a fine reliability score. That is not bad by any means. Fuel octane is at 86. Does that mean there's more available leanness to it? No, we're already at 15 there, so that's as lean as she will go. We could probably squeak a few horsepower out of it, though. Yeah, right there. Alright, 73.6 and a 23.8 on the final economy score. Well, let's see if we can make use of 73 horsepower enough to power this tiny, tiny little car to meet highway speeds. Maybe? We're talking max comfort on this thing, so probably the automatic transmission. Despite the fact that debatably the manual could get us better economy. In fact, I want to look at that and see if it will. We'll have to finish building, though. Hard, long life tires with plenty of sidewall, steelies. Probably just a basic steely design would do, I suppose. Those, we can get away with those. That'll do it. But this is almost a game of, like, how narrow can we get away with the tires? I think 165 is pretty narrow by modern specs. Vented discs, I can't really imagine we'll need 2 pistons, but that's usually my default go-to at this point. So we'll try it. If we need any rear rotor, I would be surprised. Semi-cloud for the fact of the economy. Obviously, we need to lose a ton of this cooling. That grill is way over effective for this thing. 2 seats versus 4. Honestly, they always tend to prefer the less seats, as far as I can tell. Standard interior, a basic CD player, power steering and ABS, and then standard safety. We have quality there. Standard springs. And the twin tubes are actually... the gas monotubes would give us more sportiness, a little bit more comfort. Now we'll go for the twin tubes because they're cheaper. And cheap is good for this kind of build. Oh, those scores are looking very promising as of right now. It might be a bit overpriced, just a little, but if it dominates the class in score, we can deal with that. We can definitely deal with that. Suspension needs a little tuning. Needs to not bottom out for sure. And drivability, would love to get that to a 1. Bam, right at the 1 mark, and it actually brought the sportiness up a little, so it's not as terrible to drive. And now for the gearing. We need more of it. So we have lots of overdrive. Lots of overdrive. 41.5 miles per gallon. Those are numbers I didn't think I would ever see. Honestly, I've never been able to get a car to do that in this video game. Now, sure, it has a 0 to 60 of 13.4 seconds. But this is the kind of car that is purely a city commuter. If you're taking it on the highway, you're doing it wrong. Looking at you, smart car owners. I'm just kidding. Really, I have never driven a smart car. I have no idea how fast they are. Could we reduce that, though, with more second gear? No. What if we went the other way? 13.3. 13.0. 12.5. Yeah, that's the point right there. 12.5. That's almost, like, doable. You can almost live with that on the highway every day, maybe, if you got really good at pedaling it. Alright, so I very rarely do this, but I'm going to hold right here, and I'm going to look at a manual 5-speed. It does come up in miles per gallon. Thank you, video game, for being correct. Is the score better? No, it is not. Because that makes it sportier and less comfortable to drive, it doesn't offset the fact that it gets better miles per gallon. But it makes me very happy inside that it does get better miles per gallon, to be honest. So we'll revert back to that first one. And that is where we will let that sit. It does get a little wheel spin, but that's probably those tiny tires. Brakes. Alright, so way less front rotor. Can we do one pistons? Not quite. So let's do smaller front rotors. And the rears, I mean, I guess just no rotor at all, basically. How small can we make it? That's as small as we can make it. They can do more comfortable pads in the back to get rid of some of that rear braking pressure. Drums? It actually doesn't hate that. It does not hate the drums with max comfort options on it. But there's brake fade with that, so... In general, we don't want brake fade. In general, that's not a good thing. So just the most comfortable pads on the back with a little bit of vent on there to get rid of brake fade, and that makes the scores pretty good. Aero-wise, where's the reliability? 72.2, 72.2, 72.2. All right, that was the point where it changed, so we go back up to there so that we can reduce its drag a little bit. Just a touch. Interior-wise, as always, they prefer the 2 seats. Entertainment-wise, see, the city budget's gonna prefer the no entertainment, but I think to make it sell to more categories, let's go ahead and put the basic CD on there. ABS is such a standard now that it just needs to be there. Why this car would ever need stability control, I'm not sure, but it is something the buyers really look for, which is confusing. You're very confusing buyers. Suspension is good. Let's go to the test track. Oh god, it hurts. It hurts so bad. Not really. I mean, top speed 104, so it's very highway doable. An 18-second quarter mile, sure, that's not very good. But an 18-second quarter mile that gets 41.9 miles per gallon on a regular gas engine with not direct injection. It ain't bad. It ain't bad. Okay. These are actually the best scores I've ever seen. I've never seen scores this good before. So that's good. City budget is very good, but look at the city score. 146 with an 82% affordability. Compare that to the Magnet Mark II, which is currently still pulling us money with a 70 and 70 there. So that's a pretty dramatic increase. The fact that this is a fun budget car, I guess that's kind of Mazda 2-ish. And commuter budget. I like these stats. This is a money-making car, which is exactly what you want from a Magnet, because that's what it's always done. Let's see here. Factory-wise. 2 years, 10 months to engineer the body. That's cool. We have money in the bank, so we could drop a few months off of that. Yeah, 2 years, 8 months. Because I have a feeling, yep, that the engine doesn't take very much. I'm going to leave myself available for the Zoids, because we're going to need all the help we can get with that car in the future. So let's leave that as it is. We could increase this and then increase the reliability some. That seems to make sense. And let's see here. This is going to take the Magnet Mark II's spot, which has a large factory. So we can produce a ton of these things if we want to. We can in fact do a large 2 factory, but that might be getting a bit carried away. We're going to increase the automation here so that it's a bigger investment right now, but hopefully we can sell them for less per car. Then the engine, oh wow, that automation was really low. So we can take that all the way to 75 or so and bring that tool quality up. I think when I was making this car, the initial purchase of the land and stuff cost a lot of money, so that's why I made those very low. I was worried about bankrupting us with it, and that very much so didn't happen. So that's on the medium setting there. Let's see how that works out. Okay, that puts the engine factory working at like overtime. it would be a huge expenditure to go to the large. We're talking a comparison of like 208 to 980 million. So really, it just makes sense to make the tooling quality better and the automation just as high as we can and see how many we can produce with that. There we go. That's more doable numbers. Then we can increase the shifts on the cars a little bit, because that's at a large 1. This is a very strange way I've got this set up. Purely my fault. I did this to us. But that's where we're at. Let's go to 100. Let's make as many of these as we can. We'll split the difference between going to a large 1 would be 900 million versus this is 200 million. So a 409 million or 423 million investment seems like a good meet in the middle kind of territory. And that does allow us to make a lot more of them. So that would bring us to like 2.2 shifts. What do the numbers look like though? Okay, so we're going to be talking, I would say, yeah, 40 to 50% of a markup there, which gives us very nice scores. In fact, the City Premium has really, really amazing scores. But this is all kind of irrelevant, because when we go to the next screen, that's where we'll find out the demand. And the demand right now, interestingly, the Eco is not wanted at all in Vanity, but it's wanted a lot in Arcana. So that's an interesting little development there. But what we can do is offset the price, so we bring up the demand a bunch in Arcana, and to sell them at a -20 there is still a good profit. And we could, let's see, move the base markup up some. I don't think they're going to want them at all in Vanity. Nope, not even one little bit. There must be something that they don't want about it. I'm not sure. But either way, 14.1, and honestly, we would still have to mark it up some more. Let's do that and sell just a few less of them there. And that's 1.62. This is a big, huge investment on this project. $2.1 billion. That is a huge investment. Why is that such a huge investment? Is that because of the automation that I did in the factory? Why is that such a huge investment? I don't... Where's that math? 400 million, 400 million. I guess the engineering time? I suppose that's the case. I'm gonna have to put my thinking cap on for a moment. Alright, so I spent some time here and shed some money from this because I think I just went a little overzealous on some things, trying to rush this car out, and there's really no need for that. The Magnet Mark II is still doing okay. So yeah, we shed some money out of the research on it, and I shed some money out of the factories as well. Just going with the large car and the large engine, but then just tuning down the engine factory to a lower quality to match the speed of the car factory means that we're no longer limited in how many cars we could make. So we can do higher production at maybe a little bit of a smaller markup. But what that does for us is gives us a break-even point in 17 months. And it's going to give us the grand total down to a $1.6 billion project, which may sound like a lot, but then remember that the Magnet Mark II earned us $10 billion overall, so a $1.6 billion project is really not that bad. That is very doable for us at this point. The 17-month break-even on a car that's selling at a pretty small margin, I think we can afford to do it, and I think we should. I think the Magnet deserves it. And overall, I have to say, I'm pretty proud of this build. I think it's a good build. There's this point in there, the $300 million of add-ons for the galvanization process is something that is probably trimmable. We could probably have gotten rid of that and just use corrosive resistant steel. However, I think the additional reputation for us with that is worth it. So that's where some of the fatness in that budget came from. Other than that, a lot of it was just in the size of the factories. So with that stalling out of the way, let's sign off on that, and let's press through time a little here and see if things go all right with the old economy, because it could swing one way or the other, but we have a big enough range now that we should be okay either way. Okay, Sharky just hit production, Sharky Mark II. Let us see how it is. It's okay. I could probably trim down on the shifts a bit. I have it maybe overproduced at the moment. 1.5 seems to be a healthy point. Okay, with 2003 in the books, 638,000 cars sold, a $2 billion profit year. Looking like we're in pretty good shape there. One thing of note though, Sharky Mark II is not doing well. I'm worried what I'm gonna see when I click this economy tab. I'm optimistic about Magnet Mark III, but oh wow, really? It has been a brutal stretch of 15, 20 years here. Another downturn. Really taking off the top from the entire global economy. Premium and luxury hurting once again. That hurts all around. Actually, from normal on, so the only thing on the incline's budget. That's a pretty downward spike. So we're probably going to have to calm down on Sharky production very strongly. Take that way down. We'll actually come down on the markup a bit too. Oh, that's a shame. But hopefully things correct themselves soon, and we can turn that around. Let's see here. Magnet Mark II is still barely making us money. $20 million a month. I mean, barely $20 million. The Sharky is selling off its remaining stock, and it is now above $5 billion in profits. Truffle Mark III, still selling all that we can produce and bringing us a cool $69 million a month. Zoids also just selling off its remaining stock. That had never made a profit, and it never will, and that's fine. That's totally fine. Bionic doing very well, 73 million. Jaws Mark II doing amazing, 77 million. These are cars that are doing quite well. Let's go ahead and get all the way through 2004 and maybe look at our options for 2005, but we're not sure yet. Alright, we end 2004. A good year for sales, but 1.8 billion in profit. Spending a lot of money on that magnet this year, which is fine. If we're making 1.8 billion a year, there's no real harm there. Everything seems fine. Let's take a look at the economy, see what's happening. Alright, so a restabilization. Seems like it's going to normalize here again. Maybe not dip too much lower, but we're not headed up yet. I don't think I have enough time, though. I need to get Zoids going pretty soon. So, although we haven't made a whole ton of progress in this episode, years-wise, I'm actually going to stop here so that next episode we can put full focus on the Zoids Mark III, because it's our Halo, it's the build that's most fun to make, and I want to be putting all of our effort into that. R&D wise, oh, we're just short. We are just short. I may be able to push this to like 3 for a couple months in 2005 and get those to 1. That's probably what I'll end up doing, because I would love to have those available for the next Zoids. Let me see if that happens. Okay, there it is. There it is. Okay, so we didn't have to go very far at all, and we got those to 1. Cool. All right, we can chill that out again, and that is that. Save. How's our total here? Oh, interesting. I didn't even notice that had happened. The bottom fell out of the magnet, apparently. Interesting. Interesting. I suppose after 25 years, something happened to make it just not a seller. So I'll have to, I guess, reduce the... Oh yeah, nobody wants it anymore. Nobody wants it. Interesting. Even with no markup. Yeah, we'll just stop making it, basically. Just totally bring its shifts way down. It's almost out of production. Very close to out of production. Let's see. December 2005, so yeah, a couple months and it'll be done. So pretty much spot on timing there. I drug that one out as far as I possibly could. But alright, that'll do it for today. Thank you as always for watching. Hope you are still enjoying the Automation Lite campaign as we draw nearer to the close of it. And I will see you next time.